It's a done deal. Marpin 2K4 now under new management. The company's acquisition by Cable and Wireless Telecommunications is finalized. Director of Social Security confident the acquisition of Marpin by Cable and Wireless means growth for the cable TV provider. And Prime Minister Skerrit floats the idea of increasing tariffs on imported produce to protect locally grown food. I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details after this. First up, Friday, May 12, marked the end of over 2.5 years of negotiations to finalize the sale of Marpin 2K4 Limited. Idona John Baptist has that story.
Cable and Wireless Telecommunications, the operators of Flow, is now the new owner of the country's first cable TV service provider. This means that the Dominica Social Security, which has been the sole shareholder of Marpin 2K4 Limited as of 2014, has transferred all of its shares to the British multinational telecommunications company. The announcement was made at a staff meeting at Marpin's Roseau office on Friday by Managing Director Missy Henderson, who encouraged staff to continue to demonstrate the same commitment they have under their former employer. Francis Emmanuel, who held the position of chairman of Marpin's board, described it as a happy day for him. Also addressing staff was chairman of DSS board, Anthony Joseph, who noted that DSS was thankful it was able to provide employment for the current employees and their families. DSS's involvement in the running of Marpin started as a joint ownership with Florida-based company WRB Enterprises Limited in 2009. General Manager of Flow Dominica Jeffrey Baptiste has assured staff that investments into Marpin are due to get off the ground by next week. Flow has announced in an official press release that Dominica will soon have the opportunity to experience the best multi-platform TV the region has to offer in light of the purchase by its operator Cable and Wireless Communications. The acquisition of Marpin means that Flow Dominica will soon be able to offer cable television services in addition to its mobile, fixed-line telephone and high-speed broadband services. Baptiste told staff local programming will be maintained, and referring to the competition, he said it would continue to be used as a major differentiator between us and them. The company, which was Marpin Telecoms and Broadcasting, was renamed Marpin 2K4 Limited when WRB Enterprises and the DSS took over. Ronald Abraham is the founder of the cable TV company, which evolved from humble beginnings to offer landline and internet services. Idona John Baptist, Channel 5 News.
In related news, Director of the Dominica Social Security, Janice Jean-Jacques Thomas, has expressed confidence that the acquisition of Marpin by Cable and Wireless will spell definite growth for the cable TV provider. The share purchase agreement was signed between General Manager of Flow Dominica, Chairman of the Dominica Social Security Board, and Thomas on Friday. Thomas says it's a great day at Marpin.
We are the Dominica Social Security and its contributors. Because, you know, Dominica Social Security got involved with Marpin, but that this is separate from our core business. And although we pursue investments, the kind of injection of funds that was required by Marpin, it wasn't possible for DSS to put in that level of financing. So Marpin is a company with great potential and loyalty from customers. There's much goodwill in Marpin. And so we're really pleased that Cable and Wireless stuck to the process. We're really pleased because we believe that Cable and Wireless, and given the background of the company and the involvement now of Liberty Global, that they are well placed to propel Marpin. Marpin is a company with good prospects, and we are certain that with the acquisition of Marpin by Cable and Wireless, that the company will in fact grow, and to the fortunes of the employees, the company, and the Dominican public.
Jean-Jacques Thomas says staff deserve to be commended for their great sacrifices.
Yes, we can in fact, as the sole shareholder, commend the staff of Marpin, who over the years made great sacrifices. Sacrifices in terms of their income, sacrifices in terms of making much with little resources. So they help to keep the company afloat, and today we really have to recognize the efforts of the staff members, their understanding in having the company remain active, remain as a going concern, that today we could sell out our shares, divest out of Marpin, and to a company we believe that will improve the fortunes of Marpin. So the staff members must be commended for their efforts and the sacrifices that they made over the years to keep Marpin afloat, even with the little resources that were available.
In other news, market protection for local farmers' produce could be about to receive much greater attention. Prime Minister Skerrit believes it's time for Dominica to have a serious discussion over its importation of agricultural produce from other countries and what can be done to impose certain additional tariffs on them. The Prime Minister's rationale for imposing additional taxes on imported agricultural produce is that it will make them more expensive, thereby making local produce more affordable to customers. The Prime Minister, who was addressing a lack of market concerns by a Salisbury farmer, was also careful to take into consideration the existence of trade agreements that Dominica has signed to include the EPA.
Sometimes you have a serious glut in the market, and the issue of supply and demand issues come in there, but there are times when you do not have enough to sell. I mean, when we reinstated the import duties on chicken, people criticize us. But if you're going to move to abattoir and you're going to move to asking people to grow chicken in Dominica, to rear chicken in Dominica, then you have to protect the market. You see what I'm saying? But I see bell peppers from Canada, for example. And the amount of money that Dominicans are paying for these bell peppers per kilo, with all of the chemicals that they have in them, we buy them. The point is, these supermarkets will bring stuff into Dominica as long as we, the consumers of Dominica, buy them. But if we're more nationalistic in our approach towards consumption and demand local produce from the supermarkets, I give you the assurances that you will see a dramatic reduction in stuff coming from overseas. So we need to, as farmers and the country as a whole, look at these things from this standpoint. Because when I say the tomatoes that come from France, from Guadeloupe and all these places, and bell peppers from Canada and these countries.
The Prime Minister says locals bypass their own local produce and purchase imported agricultural produce for a number of reasons.
People go and they buy them because they look pretty and all these things and so forth. And sometimes people do not want to pay the extra dollar, extra 5 cents or 10 cents more for local produce, not recognizing that the more we support local, the more jobs we create, and the better for all of us as farmers. And that's a problem there with the importation of our agricultural produce and fruits into our country.
Health Minister Dr. Kenneth Daru says ongoing construction on the Princess Margaret Hospital is progressing beyond expectation. Daru said this week that the Hunan Construction Company is working at a fast pace on the new National Hospital.
The state-of-the-art building will incorporate a modern data center that will also enable us to use cutting-edge technology to communicate with health professionals globally. New medical equipment such as the MRI and the high-intensity focused ultrasound to treat tumors and a number of new units are components of the improved hospital system.
The government of the People's Republic of China is funding the $40 million or 108 million EC dollar hospital. On Wednesday, the governments of Dominica and the People's Republic of China signed an agreement for the dispatch of Chinese medical specialists to work at Princess Margaret Hospital. Daru disclosed that another medical cooperation agreement in the making is expected to greatly boost the capacity of the hospital. In more news now, veteran medical doctor Victor Emmanuel says some of his colleagues are afraid to grant patients sick leave over fears of being blacklisted by Dominica Social Security. His statements follow a move by the Dominica Employers Federation to target specific doctors linked to high volumes of sick leave received by some employees. In a recent press release, DEF points to an upward trend in the number of sick days from 78,415 in 2010 to 98,695 in 2016. He warns that DEF should not generalize when looking at the situation and warns against interfering in the relationship shared by the doctor and the patient.
But it has gotten to the point now where, yes, again, these doctors, 4 or 5, whatever number it is, who are giving excessive leave, some leave which may be considered unnecessary, in my view. it's gotten to the point now where there are some doctors who are afraid to give people leave because they don't want to be blacklisted by Social Security or the Dominica Employees Federation. So, for example, somebody will go to casualty and they get a broken arm or something, and they really require 6 weeks to recover. But a casualty doctor might give them a week, and then they might tell them, go to a private doctor and get some more leave. And that puts more pressure on us, because we have to give them the leave. Because you cannot have somebody with a broken arm or chikungunya or something like that and give them 2 days off work. It's not, that's not proper medical practice.
He agrees with the former president of the Employers Federation that employers must also share responsibility for the sick leave situation.
This is what the former president of the Employers Federation had said, that it's an issue that involves doctors, employees, and employers. What is it about them? They cannot be absolved of any responsibility in this whole issue, because if their workplace is so unattractive or so stressful for the employees will find a way not to be at the workplace. And one of the best ways, I suppose, is for the employees to get sick leave, or to get more sick leave than they really require. So they're stressed, and stress will manifest itself in a lot of physical ways, and so we have to give people time off for those physical manifestations as well. So it's not all about employees and about doctors. The employers have to take responsibility as well.
Meantime, Trinidad-based former human resources management professional Lynette Kwamina was critical of the Employers Federation after receiving the information presented in the press release. She said, "I was aghast after reading the document, which is purported to have come from an employers organization. I find it very combative and a disrespect to medical practitioners. I represented my employers for 90% of my work life, and even when I had suspicions that something may have been amiss, I never made any accusation against a doctor, because as an HR professional, if you query one, you actually cast aspersions on all. The organization has all the figures to determine that something is going wrong in the workplace, and they have failed to take responsibility for it because it is easier to blame the employees and the doctors." You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, Mother's Day and what's being planned for Africa Week. Thanks for staying with us. Businesswoman and founder of the Melissa Skerritt Foundation says the recently launched school feeding program is reaching its target base. At a Christmas party for children in December 2016, Melissa Skerritt announced plans to launch a school feeding program in 2017. On a visit to Dominica Infirmary earlier this week, Mrs. Skerritt updated the media on the foundation's school feeding program.
Lately, I launched a school feeding program. It's actually a snack program that I like to call it instead. And this month, we will be giving out about 2,000 snacks to children in 2 different schools in Roseau. And it's really to help with them and the circumstances that they face at home, because what happens is that the parents tend to leave their children home from school because they don't have a snack to give them. And so I thought that, this is something that would be great to provide for the children. It would ensure that they are alert in school, that they do make it to school, and they are healthy. And I've been running this pilot program for about a month now, and so far so good. And I will be in full force come September. Hopefully we can triple the amount of recipients.
Mrs. Skerritt says the other programs under her foundation are also benefiting a wide cross-section of society.
Actually 3 programs that I run on a yearly basis. It's the elderly program, where I reach out and provide the basic necessities to those who are in need, as well as the back to school program, Adopt a Child back to school program. I will be providing scholarships this year like I do on a yearly basis, as well as supplies for children, less fortunate children. And as well, I always look after the babies, especially those who are in trying circumstances, providing them with basic supplies that the mother and the baby will use.
And organizers of Africa Week 2017 are inviting the public to connect with the African identity. The week of activities is expected to run from May 19 to 25. It is aimed at promoting African culture and includes an African cuisine competition, football competition, knowledge quiz, and a panel discussion expected to discuss marijuana in society. A highlight of the week of activities is Africa Day, an Africa Day rally, which will mark the 54th anniversary of the signing of the African Liberation Day Charter.
With all the activities taking place during that week, we need not lose focus on what African Liberation Day really is about and the essence of it. You know, because the concept of African Liberation Day in the 70s was highly political at the time, because it has highly to do with the liberation struggle, the struggle against colonialism and apartheid and all the rest that was hamburging us. And we need not lose that essence of what the day and the week signifies for us as black people. It's liberation.
Africa Week is being organized by the House of Nyabinge, the Government of Dominica, and 5 other partners. Potential recipients of small business assistance from government are being advised to plan to make the best use of the funds by setting goals. Just this week, another group of current and aspiring business owners in the Soufrière constituency completed 2 days of training in small business. The training is made possible through the Ministry of Commerce, Enterprise and Small Business Development. The parliamentary representative wants the small business owners and potential owners to get or set smart goals for their businesses.
According to Dr. Rick Goodman, who wrote a book on the game plan for success, the first step in setting SMART goals is to be specific. That means know what you want to achieve. What do you want to achieve in the next 6 months, 12 months, 5 years? How much revenue you would like to earn? Would you like to build a house, pursue a certification training course? Would you like to buy a vehicle, have children, get married? It's important to write down your goals and hang them somewhere that you can see every day to remind yourself what you are working to achieve.
The MP says having established what the goals are, the small business owner must be able to measure them in an attempt to determine the level of progress.
Review your plan periodically. Get a receipt book so you can give your customer a receipt when they purchase from you. Or enter your sales in an exercise book so you can track your success. You can track how much money you make on a daily basis. Don't sit at the end of the day and guess how many customers you have seen for the day. The important thing is to track your sales. So by doing that, you will get an idea of the days when you sell the most, or if you need to make a minimum of $1,000 monthly, every week check how much you have made thus far. So you will know how much you need to make further to meet that $1,000 target.
Charles further advised small business trainees to ensure their goals are achievable and that they have the equipment and skills to achieve them. And the job of being a mother has been made a bit easier for 8 less fortunate women. In its annual pre-Mother's Day ceremony, the Dominica National Council of Women recognized the hard work of mothers who live in trying circumstances.
As we celebrate Mother's Day, by championing, knowing or not gender equality, women's economic empowerment, and the elimination of gender-based violence, Dominica mothers are helping our country reach its full potential. As women, we are normally caregivers, protectors of the young and defenseless. I urge us to be ever more vigilant. We must continue in our call to break the silence, underscoring the importance of prevention or prosecution.
Meantime, the Bureau of Gender Affairs applauded Dominica for the strides it has made in its move toward gender equality.
Mother's Day serves as a reminder that the fight for equality must continue, to give all parents the support they need to be providing for their children through adequate maternity leaves, paternity leaves, accommodation for workers who are pregnant, accommodations for working mothers with children, flexibility, etc. Nevertheless, as a nation, Dominica continues to make significant strides in achieving gender equality of access and opportunity for women that many women around the world can still only dream of. Access to education and employment for women continues to be commendable, and more recently, the launch of a pilot national health insurance scheme targeting single expectant mothers or single mothers with children under 3.
The DNCW ceremony was held under the theme Empowering Women, Encouraging Motherhood. That's news. Sports is next with Kenny Williams.
Cricket takes the first knock. West Indies stand in a shaky position, facing a competitive Pakistan bowling attack, trailing by 158 runs with 5 wickets remaining in the first innings on Friday. Resuming on 14 without loss, Roston Chase was retired hurt on 60 and Kieran Powell out on 31. Carlos Brathwaite and Shai Hope added 29 each to the West Indies total. Yasir Shah was the highlight of the Pakistan bowling attack on the third day's play with 3 for 108.
We'd like to be probably 2-3 wickets less and another 50 runs more on the board, but it is what it is, so we just have to fight from the position that we're in. As I said, it's one of those pitches where you can't necessarily force the issue. We even saw that with when Pakistan batted it. It's not as if it's just us that had it difficult to score. Pakistan batted 145 overs for their 360 odd runs, so we know the nature of the pitch. It's not as if we could just come and dictate it, and obviously as the game goes on with more wear and tear, the pitch is going to become even more difficult to score. So I mean, we just have to keep backing ourselves, the batters in and the batters to come. Obviously try and score as much as possible when given the opportunity, but without trying to force the issue on this pitch. I'm very frustrated with my performance and my dismissals today, because I'm looking at the series and thinking that I should have probably been the leading run scorer in the series so far, but haven't been able to kick on yet. But I'm still working hard in all areas. So hopefully in the next innings I could come good. If not, hopefully I'm given another chance in another series to come good.
Yeah, I think we bowled really well according to the plans, and I think pitch is slow, and the plan was there to bowl as many overs as you can and don't give them too many runs. I think bowler done really great job. Yasir Shah and all the seam bowlers done a great job for us. Oh, I would like bowlers to get 5 wickets in 5 balls, but in cricket it's not happening. So we need to work hard to get last 5 wickets. So we know the West Indies, the tail, they can bat, and their average is really good. Like number 8 to 11, they can bat. So we have to be bowling really well tomorrow and then get the 5 wickets.
Sports continues with this item, where former elite umpire Billy Doctrove has joined the race for the Dominica Olympic Committee's presidency position ahead of elections on May 18. Speaking with Marpin Sports, the philanthropist said although initially skeptical about contesting the position, he eventually accepted the nomination from various sporting associations. Doctrove believes that change of DOC's leadership is critical if it is to regain public confidence. He added that the body's image and reputation has received a beating and is in tatters. Doctrove said sports lovers need to address the matter with urgency, since our sportsmen and women deserve nothing less. He added that if given the opportunity, he will try his best. Doctrove gave over 40 years of service in the area of cricket umpiring and has made strides on the local, regional and international levels. Moving on to basketball, where Portsmouth Secondary has successfully defended their title in the girls under-15 category on Thursday. PSS pounded Northeast Comprehensive 28-5 in the finals of the Sports Division organized event. Previously, the teams participated in round-robin and playoff segments.
Well, we have done it about 5 years in a row, and right now we're trying to expand the training, because we train once a week, but we try to go in the morning. We try to encourage more people to come in the morning for school, because not only it's a basketball exercise, but also keep their brains fresh in terms of physical exercises. So that is part of it. And recently we are making moves to put our eyes so that we can have at least one tour here. We are happy to continue winning, and we hope that other schools will come on board. Hopefully next year we can have a full league, because with this short one day and competition, that will give us enough time, or give people enough time on the court to really develop their skills. So I hope that the sports division will look into expanding the girls competition like you have expanded the under 15 boys competition this year.
Meantime, the DABA, in collaboration with the Lupus Foundation, will host the Lupus Night on Saturday to help raise awareness of the disease. Fans are encouraged to wear something purple to show support.
We want to show the Lupus Foundation that DABA is in full support of them, and we want to assist in spreading awareness. So we're asking our fans on this night to wear something purple to show support to the Lupus Foundation. Part of the proceeds made on that night will go towards the foundation as well. Some of my Lupus ladies and myself will briefly just share with the fans and the public about something about lupus, how it affects us, how they can spread awareness with us as well and assist anyone as well together with that. So we look forward to everybody coming and showing their support to both the ABA and the Lupus Foundation.
Meantime, the first match will be between Hoyas under 17 and St. Mary's Academy under 17 at 7 p.m. to be followed by defending champions Fast Cash Prowlers versus Intellico Raiders at 9 p.m. Lupus is a chronic inflammatory disease that occurs when the body's immune system attacks its tissues and organs. On to track and field, where national sprinter Mitchell Davis has embarked on a journey to break the national record in the men's 100-meter event. Davis left for Martinique on Friday to attempt this historic feat.
I'll be traveling to Martinique. I'll be competing in the Duran Invitational. I'll be running the 100 and the 200 meters. My goal for this competition is to break the national record in the 100 meters. I feel that it's possible based on my training session that I had this week. I had a good training session from Sunday to yesterday, and I feel that it's possible. I'm also looking forward to running under 21 seconds for the first time for the season in 200 meters. I feel like I'm becoming race sharp because of the amount of competitions that I've had successively. So I look forward to some great performances.
Mitchell's fastest time in the 100-meter event is 10.44 seconds, a time he ran in April this year in Martinique. The current national record in the men's 100-meter event is 10.33 seconds. That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Do have yourself an awesome weekend.
Let's check in now with the Met Office for the latest weather update.
Good evening. Welcome to the weather report and forecast. I am Viola Pascal. The infrared satellite imagery showed that the broad air of multi-layered clouds associated with the trough system have moved eastward away from the Leeward Islands. To the south, we continue to have some deep convective clouds associated with a westward moving tropical wave. For those of you wondering what happened to all that rain that was forecast for Dominica, there was some dry air intrusion across the island, and that has the effect of inhibiting or limit significant shower activity across Dominica. The visible satellite imagery is showing that Dominica experienced partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy conditions throughout today. However, to the southeast of the area, we continue to have a broad air of cloudiness associated with a tropical wave. The radar imagery also shows shower activity to the southeast associated with the tropical wave. For tonight, expect partly cloudy to cloudy conditions with some scattered showers as the tropical wave moves westward across the area. For tomorrow, expect partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy conditions with a few scattered showers with some reduction in shower activity as we get into the afternoon. For the marine forecast, seas are expected to be moderate with waves peaking near 7 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to exercise caution. Over the next 3 days, expect partly cloudy to occasional cloudy conditions with a few scattered showers. As a high pressure system rebuilds across the area, expect some breezy conditions on Monday. Across the Caribbean, expect partly cloudy conditions to the north with a few scattered showers, and to the south, expect mostly cloudy conditions with showers and thunderstorm activity due to that tropical wave. For the international cities forecast, expect mostly cloudy conditions with showers in New York, partly cloudy skies in Miami, London, and Beijing, and thunder showers in Caracas. The sun will rise at 5:37 a.m. and set at 6:27 p.m. For further information, call the weather hotline at 447-5555 or visit the website at weather.gov.dm. Thanks for viewing. Do have a good evening.
To end the news, the headlines again. It's a done deal. Marpin 2K4 now under new management. The company's acquisition by Cable and Wireless Telecommunications is finalized. Director of Social Security confident the acquisition of Marpin by Cable and Wireless means growth for the cable TV provider. And Prime Minister Skerrit floats the idea of increasing tariffs on imported produce to protect locally grown food. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. To our viewers around the world, happy Mother's Day on Sunday, and thanks for watching.